So, we are here together and this meeting, the togetherness is the central thing. Today happens to be Raman Jayanti, an auspicious day. And on any day, what matters is the closeness, the meeting. For namesake, we always have a certain topic to discuss. It's a kind of an entertainment. The name, the topic. How does it matter what we discuss? That we are really talking is what matters. We could discuss this or we could discuss that. Someday I might just forget, and I would really like to forget the appointed topic for the day and just come here and be with you and say anything on any topic or not say anything on any topic. How does saying matter? But anyway, since it's a ritual to speak and speak on an ordered topic, so we shall dutifully follow the order and talk about the topic at hand. What does it happen to be? Good that you two are forgetting, or you don't know at all. Knowledge is anyway always a burden. Forgetfulness keeps all of us much lighter. May we forget more and more. But I know, in spite of our forgetfulness, we are very vigilant beings. So we remember. So what do we remember about the topic for the day? What is the topic? India and tolerance. India and tolerance. Words are words, aren't they? Words are words. What is India? Another word. Just like so many words that we utter every day, morning till sleep, India is another word. The meaning is supplied to the word by the utterer of the word. Is it not so? What does food mean? Or love mean? Or the river Ganga mean? Or a person mean? Or a place mean? Nothing. The meaning is supplied to a word by the one who utters the word. Otherwise, a word is a word. And what kind of meaning will I fill any word with? I am the one who fills meaning in a word, don't I? All means so many different things to different people. An animal or a mountain means entirely different things to different people. And even to the same person, it will mean differently at different times and in different situations, won't it? So, I am the one who supplies meaning to the word India as well. What kind of meaning am I going to imbue this word with? What is the meaning that I impose upon anything in the world? What does that meaning depend on? I call something a car. I call something a tree. I call something a woman. I call something money. I call something God. And when I call these things by these names, I am the one who supplies meaning to them. What kind of meanings will I supply? How will I fill up these words? What does that filling up depend on? Well said. So, you said my value system. You said what's going on in my mind. Yes. Could I just say what I think of myself? What I take myself to be? Depending on what I take myself to be, I paint the word with 1,000 colors. The entire palette is available. I pick up the colors according to who I think I am. If 10 fellows look at a woman, they would look at her so differently depending on who they know themselves to be. And this knowing is about what they think themselves to be. Right? You look at a child, you look at a temple or a mosque, and the meaning that you supply to it depends on who you are. And that is one thing that must be remembered. When you're talking of India, when you're talking of tolerance, then you're not talking of anything external, you're talking of yourself. Because to any word, you are the one, we are repeating it probably for the 6th time, to any word, you are the one who will supply the meaning, right? You are the one. And the meaning will depend on, yes?
What you think yourself as.
What I think myself to be. Now, for the sake of convenience, let's just say that man thinks himself either as material or as material. That is the only way you can think of yourself, either as material or as material. Sometimes you think of yourself as gross material and sometimes as subtle material. Gross material is things, body, material that you can hold and touch and watch and smell, perceptible with the senses. So this kind of man is a body identified man, the one who identifies with He thinks himself to be body. His entire mind, his whole sight is obsessed with material, gross material. Then there is the other kind of man who thinks of himself as subtle material. And I repeat, whenever you will think of yourself, you will only think of yourself as material. Thinking of yourself as any other thing is not possible, because thought itself is a thing. The one who identifies himself with subtle material is the mind-identified person. He thinks of himself in terms of ideas. That is subtle material. The one who is body identified, the one whose thought is gross, when he will utter the word India, what will he think of India as? Geographical boundaries. Simply put, yes, land, a territory, a geography, space delimited by boundaries. That would be his definition of India. The moment such a person, such a mind utters the word India, what comes to him is a flashing map of the political country. India means the territorial map of India to such a mind. Whenever you come across such a mind, and it could unfortunately be your own mind, whenever you come across such a mind that equates India with the map of India, you should know something about, well, not about India, but about that man. What do you immediately come to know about that man? That this fellow is terribly body identified. Because he thinks of himself as body, hence he thinks of India as a landmass. Now, everything that he does with the body, every way in which he relates to his body, would also be the way he would relate to India. The body wants to preserve itself and expand. And this mind will say, let the country expand. This is the mind of the king who fights wars to enhance the boundaries of his territory. Just as the body draws its sustenance from the world and is concerned firstly about its own survival, such a mind would want that his country extract resources from wherever possible in the world and be bothered principally with its own survival and continuation. We know the games of the body, don't we? We have seen how two male animals fight for the female. And that is not very different from how two countries would then fight for a coveted resource if that is the definition of country? A piece of land, India or any country. There is bound to be body-centered strife. Every disease that plagues the body would then also plague the country. There would be the fear of extinction. There would be deep insecurity. The world would appear hostile. There would be a particular date when the boundary would come into existence. And there would be an inevitable lurking certainty that one day these boundaries would be no more. And when these boundaries would be no more, I would be no more, the country would be no more. Hence, the relationship with the world would be of strife, conflict. You're continuously living under the shadow of extinction. Then there is the one who identifies more with ideas. He says, I'm not a layman. I'm not the common patriot. I'm not the zealot. I'm not the one who becomes overly enthusiastic. I'm not the chauvinist. I'm an intellectual. I live in my brain. I deal with thoughts and ideas and concepts. For him, India is an idea. And we have often heard this phrase, have we not? The idea of India. For this fellow, who thinks of himself as subtle material, who is mind identified, who lives in ideas, everything is an idea. Even India for him is an idea. And he very proudly and assuredly claims that India is an idea. And as far as he goes, because for him, he himself is an idea, so surely India is an idea. India is as much an idea for him as is his wife, as is his world, as are all his relationships, as is his car, as is life. Even life is an idea for him. This fellow would be plagued by all the diseases of the mind. He would not overtly display conflict. He will say, I'm a civilized man. And civilization is an idea. So, I'm going to tolerate. We will not fight with guns, we will debate. We will debate. But in that debate, what he wants to maintain is an opinion. He is prepared to modify his opinions, no doubt about it. But even that modification must be first approved by him. He says, I will decide what my beliefs are going to be I am the master of my beliefs, but one thing is certain, I do not know anything except beliefs. So let us come to a truce. You enjoy your beliefs and I will enjoy my beliefs, and we will call it peaceful coexistence. We will call it mutual tolerance. And what is he doing? Look at the cunning game. He's saying, let your ego exist and let my ego exist, because ego thrives on ideas. Let both of us feel safe in our respective domains. And then there is the third mind. This third mind thinks of itself neither as gross material nor as subtle material. Then what does it think of himself? Because all thought is material. So it does not think of itself at all. It feels no need to give itself a definition. It is so innocently, joyfully immersed in life that such questions appear meaningless to it. He has no conception about himself. Such a mind feels no need to give a limit to itself. When asked, "Who are you?" such a mind does not reply with anything. Silence. Who are you? Well, not even Shivoham. Not even Soham. Only silence. For such a mind, India cannot be an idea. For such a mind, India can be only the mother of all religion. Religion arising from nowhere. Because if it arises from anywhere, that anywhere is bound to be man's mind. And religion that arises from man's mind will be as petty as man. This third mind that does not think of itself as anything looks at India not as a landmass, not as a political unit, not as an idea, but simply as the fountainhead of spirituality. So is it about India, or is it about the way the mind identifies itself?
The way it identifies.
The way it identifies. The second word that happens to be there in the topic for the day is tolerance. We said it is not so much about India, it is more about identification. Where there is identification, there is conflict. That conflict is very tangible, very material. when it comes to the body identified mind. If there are two body identified fellows, then their conflict will be visible as a street fight. They would be hitting each other's bodies. I am a body and you are a body, and where there are bodies, there are bound to be conflicts. And because you are a body, if I want to hurt you, I will hit your body. So fists and punches would be landing. A very explicit fight will be taking place. And you can surely call it violence. Violence, conflict, is the result of identification. Where there is identification, there is bound to be conflict. This conflict can be called as explicit, gruesome violence when two body-identified persons are fighting. When two mind-identified persons are fighting, then this conflict is called as debate. This debate is nothing but a clash of ideas. When two mind-identified persons are together, then their togetherness is a conflict which is called as tolerance. Tolerance only means I am somehow bearing you. The word has the shadow of intolerance. Tolerance is not love, or is it? Do you tolerate in love? But because I live in ideas, because my ego is connected to ideas, and I am so poor that I know nothing beyond ideas. So for my survival, it is important that ideas must survive. I cannot allow myself to be called a bigot. I cannot let people say that I am rigid about my views and opinions. So I'm open to talking. I'm open to what is called an exchange of views. What I will call as a healthy debate. But have you ever seen people becoming free of ideas after a debate? What happens after a debate?
They get more ideas.
In fact, they don't even lose their ideas. They remain with their set of ideas.
What is it? Can you example? Party not convinced both stick to their ground.
Yes. In the worst of cases, both parties stick to their grounds. In the best of cases, somebody says, well, listening to you, I have gained some new beliefs and I am modifying my position. But have you ever seen anybody become positionless after a debate? Does debate ever lead to meditativeness? When noise meets noise, can it ever lead to silence? But the intellectual the thought identified man will very proudly claim that there must be healthy debate. And what will be the output of that debate? More beliefs. Not only more beliefs, more belief in your beliefs. Because now you are saying that my beliefs have been purged by open debate. You are saying, I have gone to the market. I have exposed my beliefs. And my beliefs are now a synthesis of the best that the world's highest intellectuals have to offer. Hence, these beliefs must be the truth. And that is the bane of the intellectual. He equates beliefs with truth. And if you tell him beliefs are not truth, then he'll say, all right, I'm prepared to modify my beliefs. Tell me what is the truth, I will start believing in it. His handicap is that he is prepared to change beliefs but not ready to go beyond beliefs. Getting it?
Yeah.
The mind that does not think of himself or of the world or India as a material or as a thought or anything will be bothered only with the truth. When you are bothered only with the truth, then there is no conflict. We had said conflict takes the shape of explicit violence. When it comes to the body, conflict takes the shape of argumentation and debate. When it comes to the mind, but when you are a nobody, then there is conflictlessness, because whatever you are is the source of all conflict. With truth, there is love. It is important to understand the difference between love and tolerance. Tolerance implies separation. Tolerance implies distance. You remain in your province as you are. I will remain in my province as I am. We both are entitled to our views, and that is called freedom of thought. This is tolerance. Is that not the definition of tolerance? Both of us are entitled to think the way we want to, and both of us are entitled to express ourselves the way we want to. This is what you call as tolerance. This is what you call as democratic liberty. But the spiritual mind does not get caught in this trap. He knows that you are only talking the language of ego. To maintain your opinion is to just maintain your ego. To ask me to maintain my opinion is to just safeguard your ego and my ego. Even when you say that you respect my opinion, you are respecting my opinion only so that your opinion does not get threatened. Because if you will attack my opinion, then you are also exposing your opinion to threat. So you will say, well, unity in diversity. You will not say that all diversity is false. Because you are a creature of the mind, and mind lives in diversities. The nature of the mind is fragmentation. Fragmentation is diversity. So you will use all these nice sounding phrases. You will say, India is like the great Indian thali, in which there are these bowls of various kinds. You will say India is kaleidoscopic. You will say India is like a rainbow. But you will be very particular that the differences remain, because you are identified to differences. Your very life will be threatened if somebody shows that all differences are false, because all differences just sustain the ego. You will say, it is the greatness of my country that everything is varied and different here. And you see, this is a land of contrasts. You will fail to see the underlying nothingness beneath all contrasts. The non-duality below all pairs of dualities, that you will not even talk of, because that scares you. That takes away your very belief in yourself. In love, you do not tolerate the other. Love and truth are one. The duty of love is to bring the truth to the other. If I live in love and I see that you are living in opinions, or if I see that you are living a body-identified life, then I will not say that that is your fundamental right or that is your personal way of living. I will not say that I respect the way you live. If I live in love and I see that you are living in violence, then I cannot say that this is your particular choice, your way of life, your tradition. So I'm not going to interfere. I will interfere. Love is not passive. Love has great energy. It is a very, very active force. In love, you do not tolerate. I'm repeating this, and this must be deeply understood. Love is not about peaceful coexistence. This statement may shock many of us, but please understand this. Coexistence means you and me living separately. Love is not peaceful coexistence. Wherever there is coexistence, it cannot be peaceful. In coexistence, there will be tolerance but not love. In love, there is just existence. Total, one, undivided. Love will not say that you may be my neighbor, and I see that your life is mired in all kinds of rubbish. Yet I'll keep at an arm's length from you. Love will not say that I might be seeing that you have created hell for yourself, for your family members, for your entire community. But I'm not supposed to interfere because it is your community. Love interferes. Love takes risks. And love has no regard for your ideas or what you call as the freedom of thought. Because there is no freedom of thought. What you call as freedom of thought and expression is a misnomer. Where there is thought, there is only bondage. But if you are an intellectual, you have nothing more than a thought. So even freedom, according to you, is the freedom of thought. If you are an intellectual, all that you express is your conditioning, your experiences, and your prejudices. So freedom, according to you, is just the freedom of expression. Love has no patience with all this rubbish. Love says, I cannot let you rot. Because I cannot let myself rot. If you rot, then I rot. You and I are one. We are not just coexisting. We are one. I want you to change because if you do not change, then I am suffering. Your suffering is my suffering. I am in love with you. And just as I insist that you go beyond your beliefs and thoughts and enter silence, I too am prepared to go beyond beliefs and thoughts and enter silence. If I'm asking you to totally give up your beliefs, it is not so that you may take up my beliefs. I'm just asking you to give up and take nothing as a substitute. Become empty. And this call for emptiness is not coming from my beliefs about emptiness. It is my own emptiness which is calling you to become empty. It is not as if I have a belief about something which I want to maintain, but when it comes to you, I'm insistent that you must be beliefless. No. I'm only asking you to taste what I am tasting. Freedom from beliefs is the nectar of life. I have tasted it, and you and I are one. You too must taste it. This is the action of love. This is the force of love. Are you getting it? So we wanted to talk about India and tolerance, but we saw that it doesn't make much sense to just take up any two words and talk about them. We talked rather about identification and conflict. What India is decided by what you are identified with. And whether it is explicit violence or the violence of argumentation is decided by the level of conflict. But when there is no identification, then there is no conflict, and what we have is love. I will not ask you to choose between types of conflicts. Surely there can be a conflict-free living. Can we live without conflict? The great action of love, the great insistence of love has great energy. It can even lead to bloodshed. Your blood may flow and the other's blood may flow, but still it is conflict-free. Kindly do not equate peace with the wordlessness of the graveyard. Peace may imply a lot of apparent strife. If you are on the side of peace, and peace and love and truth are all one, if you are on the side of peace, you may actually have to enter a lot of noise and chaos. Because the action of peace is to spread. Spread where? The action of light is to dispel darkness. So light will have to meet darkness. And when peace meets noise, then there can be bloodshed. Do not be scared of that. Remember, all fear arises from the need for self-preservation. All fear is ego. Only the ego is scared and wants to preserve itself. If you see that your brother is suffering, first of all, look inwards. See whether you have come to a point that is free of suffering. Your first responsibility is towards yourself. But when you look at the other in compassion and at yourself in attention, you find that you have already come to that point that is free of suffering. Now it is your responsibility to act. You may even call that action as interference, but that interference must happen. What else is Krishna doing? It's a matter between brothers. Let them decide whether they want to fight or have a settlement. What else is Krishna doing? He could have said, well, Arjun, go and speak to the other party. It's an intra-family thing. Settle it. But he decides to interfere. He is poking his nose. What else is the Jesus doing? The Jews are all happy. Living the way they are happy. But out of love, you must interfere. But remember, only out of love. Your interference must not be a decoy. You cannot camouflage yourself. Ego loves to call itself love. It is just that I want to impose my beliefs upon you. So I'm saying that it is my duty in love to interfere. No, not that kind of a thing. First thing, discover the Krishna, the Jesus sitting within you. Second thing, let the Krishna and Jesus act. A Jesus does not tolerate. A Krishna does not tolerate. Muhammad did not tolerate. Saints do not tolerate. Prophets and avatars do not come to this earth to tolerate. You too are an avatar. Why must you tolerate? If you will tolerate, what will you tolerate? What do you see all around you? What do you see? Is it worth tolerating? You really want to live with all this? You want to allow it to continue? Is that your responsibility towards yourself and the world? To tolerate this nonsense, this rubbish, this violence, this needless suffering? Yes? Somebody is butchering an innocent animal. Must you tolerate that in the name of personal freedom? Must you? In the neighborhood, next door, the father is crippling the mind, the freedom, the being of the daughter by imposing beliefs and a particular way of life upon her. Will you say it is their family matter? Who am I to interfere? If you're really a loving being, would you tolerate? Would you give precedence to your personal security? Would you say, why must I run into personal trouble? I don't need to stick out. Yes. In this world, where you can't breathe today, just reach the lowest ebb. Which we have filled up with 8 billion people. Which has weapons enough to destroy the world thousands of times over. Is tolerance a virtue? Can you say that people are happy doing what they are doing? Somebody's religion asks him to live in a particular way. I must let him live that way. Somebody's conditioning, somebody's thoughts, somebody's upbringing commands him or suggests to him to live and act in a particular way. I must respect that way. Would you say that?
But sir, can we do anything on actual basis? In this world, every time this thing is happening. Every time. We are talking only just hypothetical things. Every time, everything is there. Either it is good or bad.
See,
Every time there is a balance of good and bad.
you're talking about acting. You're saying, what can we do? Action follows realization.
Yes.
How will you act if you do not realize? How will you know that you need to do something about the world when first of all you have not known what you need to do about your own life? Yes, I did say that a Krishna does interfere, but he interferes when he is a Krishna. So the first thing is to discover your own Krishna nature. Have you looked at your life? When you say that so much is going on in the world and there is a balance between good and bad, first of all, have you realized who you are? Is that not the foundation on which we are basing this entire session? That words are words. You are the one who supplies meaning to them. When you know what to do with yourself, then you also know what to do with the world. Where would you get energy from? We are so dull, obtuse in realization and dull in action. That's what we are. When we do not understand anything about our life, how will we take responsibility of the world? I do not know what prompts me to go from this place to that place. Then what right do I have to suggest to anything to anybody? I do not know how I should be living. Then who am I to interfere in somebody else's way of life? I do not know why I married. I do not know why I took up a job. I do not know why every day I perform a particular ritual. Then what right do I have to go and suggest something to my neighbor? And even if you try to, on moral grounds, even if you try to, in an attempt to look and sound good, you will find that you are afraid. You will find that you lack energy. You will find that you lack that deep spiritual conviction. Because that deep sureness comes only out of living rightly. When you are living rightly, only then you get the license to poke your nose. Only then you get the license to not to tolerate. You are tolerating all your own beliefs. You are tolerating yourself every day. You are very accommodative towards all your own rubbish. But when it comes to others, you go and say, no, you must drop your beliefs. That is just hypocrisy.
But who is the judge? Who is the judge to decide that you are not?
You are the judge. And if you lack energy, then the judgment is clear. You need not judge even on subjective grounds. If you find that you lack energy, if you find that you lack passion, if you find that you feel like leaving the world to its fate, then the judgment has already been pronounced. This lack of energy comes only from not living rightly. The one who is living rightly cannot allow others to fall, to get killed, to suffer. When you are attentive towards yourself, then you are compassionate towards the entire world. We must seriously ask ourselves, beneath all the verbiage, the thing about tolerance, is it not just indifference? Is it not just insensitivity? Yes, please. Be active, interfere. Don't just tolerate me. Fight, quarrel, engage.
We love you. I am thinking that when a person is tapped with the source, what you say non-duality, then he cannot speak anything else, and you are doing the same thing.
When a person is?
When a person is tapped with the source,
Tapped.
or you can say non-duality, then a person cannot talk anything else, and you are doing the same thing. Non-duality, you are speaking right from the first moment to last moment.
It depends on how you are listening. And if you can listen that way, then that
I
tells...
think that.
No, you're listening that way. If you're listening that way, then that tells more about you than about me. If you can listen non-duality in what I'm saying, then you are established in non-duality. And that's such a wonderful thing.
So we can boldly say that we wish India to be non-tolerant, and how will we make people understand that?
It's not a question of sermonizing. It's a question of the understanding, the realization showing up in our actions. What is India? What is India? What you do, if you do it from your deepest understanding, you are India. You are India. That is the only befitting definition that we can give to the word India. The source and the center of all understanding. I had said the mother of religion. The mother of religion. That is the only worthwhile definition of India. Everything else is so disrespectful. So disrespectful.
So just for the sharing, I had a privilege of interacting with Dr. Raman, who was my teacher, and he was a Sanskrit scholar. So he used to say that every word in the Sanskrit has a meaning, and has a meaning which is very well defined. One day I asked him, what is meant by Bharat? You say that every word has a meaning. So Bharat as such would have a meaning. He says, I will come back to it. After a month or so, he reverted that. He says, Bha in Sanskrit means Brahma. Rat, who is involved with Brahma. So Brahma Rat is Bharat. That was his interpretation. I do not know how.
No, you see, sir, we said that any word has a meaning only in context of what you are. If you come to me and ask me what is Bharat, I will not reply. I will wait to catch you in your particular moment of immersion or love. I'll wait to catch you looking deeply immersed towards a mountain or a river or a butterfly. And then I'll say, that which is just now happening to you is Bharat. Because that is the only way I can tell you what is Bharat. I cannot tell you what is Bharat by referring to the etymology of the word. If you ask me what is love, it would be foolish of me to say LO means this, V means this, E means this. If you ask me what is love, I'll wait for you to taste love. And in that moment, when you would be in love, I'll say that is love. So if you'll ask me what is Bharat, I'll wait for you to look at the snow-capped Himalayas. And then, when your eyes would be shining with wonderment, I'll say that is Bharat. That is Bharat. Are you getting it? Or when you would be reading the Upanishads and your mind would suddenly be getting lighter and your face would have a certain radiance and you would have felt for yourself deeply in your heart what it means to say Purnamida Purnamidam. Then I'll say that is Bharat. Otherwise, what does Bha and Rat and all these mean? Nothing. All this is just wordplay. That word, that, is of tremendous significance. That. Tat. Tattvamasi Shvetketu. Tat. That is Bharat. Just as we formally began this session, formally we have to close it as well. But really, it is about being together and close. And that cannot be closed. So that will continue formally